Hi, Jordan.
Hello, Jerry. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
How's work?
Work's good. Yeah, it's been a long week, but tomorrow's Friday, so it's all good.
Thank goodness it's Friday.
Yep.
So this is our second consultation,
hmm
and things will be a little different. I will go over that. We now that we've gone over the basics of the program, we can explore your health concerns and measurements in more detail and
Okay.
go over recommendations when they come up. Um, do you have any questions for me at the moment?
Uh, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I have quite a few papers here. Thank you for filling out all these forms. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
It
it
takes a
was
long time.
pretty extensive.
hmm
A lot of stuff that I didn't know could happen to a human.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well,
I guess I felt kind of lucky that I didn't have some of these things that were mentioned.
are there or were there any other questions or concerns that came up as you answered all these questions?
Let's see, questions or concerns. Well, there was a section about alcohol intake that I was a bit sheepish about because it made me realize how much alcohol I do actually drink.
Mhm.
So coming home from work and opening a beer is kind of put me on like the upper end of the threshold of alcohol consumption. So maybe that's something I should consider throttling back.
hmm
Uh, Other things. Yeah, I mean there was some talk about allergies. So I think I wrote or filled out some questions on allergies. That's something I'm kind of continually working on. So I think I told you last time that I get allergy shots,
hmm
and that would hopefully get it so I don't have to take Sudafed or the allergy medications that I usually take. And if diet or something that you can suggest would help me with that, that'd be really good.
hmm
Um, can't really think of anything else off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we took some measurements. Thanks for letting me do that.
hmm
It gives a pretty good picture of where you are, where your body health stands. Your BMI is 24.8, so you're in the healthy category,
Okay.
which is nice. I did see that you noted you tend to gain weight in your belly. Has that always been the case?
I think, yeah, I was pretty skinny all growing up. And then like 17 or 18 is probably the first time I ever like put on weight.
hmm
And it was definitely in my gut. And I think that's kind of a reoccurring thing is if I do put on 5 pounds or so, it's usually like the first place I notice it.
Okay. And have you found any correlation between food types and weight gain? Or,
Uh, Probably. I think when I'm cooking for myself, I generally pick decent ingredients and portion sizes. It's when I kind of go for more of a convenience diet. So maybe if I'm working a lot and decide to go out and grab a bite more often than I normally would, or if I'm on the road, I maybe stop at fast food. So
Mhm.
those types of things are probably aligned with the weight gain.
Okay. And would you say that you stress eat at all?
Uh, Probably the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm like stressed because I'm really busy,
hmm
it's something that I will oftentimes forget or wait too long to eat. Um, but I guess at the same time, when I'm stressed is when I go towards convenience.
hmm
So I don't know if I guess they're tied,
Okay.
yes, but it's more the stress leads to convenience, which
hmm
leads to not so healthy of food.
Well, and stress is tied to increased consumption of salty and sweet foods.
Yeah,
Um,
probably more chocolate for sure.
so those tend to go to the tummy area as
Yeah,
well. So,
that makes sense.
um, but looking over your measurements, everything like you look healthy. Um, just a couple things I noticed. Physical observations, really nothing to be concerned about. Just a couple minor things are a fissured tongue. We, in integrative functional medicine, we often look at fingers, facial features, the tongue, the eyes, the ears, the nose, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So a fissured tongue is often associated with, or can be associated with, the vitamin B12, folic acid, or niacin deficiency, but also just dehydration.
Mm-hmm.
So something to consider. And we can dive into that more later. The only other physical observation I had was ridges on fingernails, and that's can indicate zinc, vitamin B6, or protein deficiency.
Okay.
So we'll assess your intake more in depth, but just food for thought. And then I noticed, so you take a lot of Sudafed and a lot of Claritin, just some drug or nutrient interaction depletions. Odd observations I've had with that is I'd recommend you avoid taking caffeine or acidic foods with Sudafed.
Okay.
As it will deplete the Sudafed, release it from the body quicker than it should be. And Claritin, take it away from food to maximize the absorption.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And let's see. So there weren't too many things that popped up for you as far as additional concerns. The alcohol consumption, you drink, how many drinks a night would you say?
Let's see. Typically one, but if you counted the weekends, it'd probably average out to maybe 1.5.
Okay.
Potentially 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Which actually reminds me of something. You mentioned things that I thought about when I filled this out, and I remember lying pretty terribly about how much water I consume.
Ew.
But since writing down how much water I drank, I've tried to kind of live up to that. And I don't remember how many ounces it was, but I've been drinking probably close to 60 ounces a day, and I feel a lot better.
Good.
So that's been helpful.
Yeah. Well, the recommendation for your body size is about 90 ounces, but that would include both fluid as well as food sources.
Okay, so maybe I get there.
Mm-hmm. As far as alcohol consumption, the recommendation for men is 0 to 2 a day.
Nice.
So
okay.
You're okay. But anyways, moving on. The suggestions that I will make here in the future, what would you say rate on a 1 to 10 scale your readiness to change and make shifts?
Scale wise, I'd say probably a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
I think I'm willing to make any suggestions you have. I think I'm maybe forgetful or stubborn in some aspects, but I think, definitely willing to give it a shot.
Okay. Well, increasing your water intake is already one nice step in the right direction, so nice job.
No, it made me feel a lot better, so
good.
I'm glad I lied about it and had to let the guilt hang over me.
All right, well, do you have any further questions for me?
Let's see. Yeah, I guess, what would... So it sounds like, it looks like you kind of wrote out some recommendations. So just try to go off of those, and then when would be a good time for us to meet again, or I guess what's the next steps?
So I will write out some recommendations for you, and we can discuss that further. But I will send them to you, and I'd probably recommend meeting back in a month.
Okay.
Unless you think that you could use more accountability or support or just more education.
No, a month sounds good.
Okay.
I think it'd be good for me to try to work on some of these things you recommend.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yep. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.